Hi guys, welcome to Shelf Control. I'm Lisa,
I'm Norm.
and today we're talking about Sheriff of Nottingham.
Sheriff of Nottingham. It was another one of the random 8 that was picked for us to review. This is one that we actually picked up because our son Aaron, the non-gamer one,
Oh, you did it again.
actually saw the Will Wheaton's tabletop show where they were playing Sheriff of Nottingham, and he really liked the idea of that, and so
This box is a mess.
we actually got this at his request.
So you pick your character. You're gonna just be this person, whoever that is.
They don't have names, I don't think.
And I'm gonna be this person because she's way cooler.
What you're doing is you're merchants that are traveling into Nottingham, and you're trying to bring in various goods, but in order to travel in, you have to get past the sheriff, who is checking people's bags to make sure you're not bringing in any contraband.
So you're given a bag and you're going to put in the number of items you want, whether it be items that will pass inspection or things that are contraband. But then you have to declare what you have in your bag to the sheriff. And so one player's the sheriff. You declare to them, okay, I've got 4 apples. What's the max number of cards you can put in?
5.
5 cards. So you tell them, I have 4 apples. So you have to declare just one item and a number. So you can't say 3 cheeses, 2 apples. You have to say a certain number of one thing. So I would say 4 apples in here.
The only thing you can't lie about is the number of cards that you've put in. You can lie about anything else.
Other than that, free reign. You can say whatever. Meanwhile, I could totally have 4 apples in here, or I could have 0 apples and 4 contraband. Or I can have a bread and 3 contraband. Anything.
Once everybody has declared what they're bringing, put the bags in front of the...
Ah, my money! I didn't close it.
No, in front of the sheriff. Then the sheriff has a decision to make for every player.
And he'll decide, okay, am I going to check your declaration or am I going to let you through? And so you can even persuade him by putting a little bit of money.
You can try and bribe the sheriff if you want to be like, here's my bag, and I'll give you a couple dollars to let me through.
To not check my bag.
You can also be like, you know what? Here's my bag. If you let me through, I'll give you $5 to check that other guy's bag, because I think he's sneaking something in. If the sheriff takes the bribe, he has to follow through with the terms. He can't be like, okay, I'm going to take your bribe and check your bag. If he takes the bribe, he gets the $5, but you're going through.
Yeah. And someone else can say, you know what? That person put 5 coins on my bag. I'm going to put 10 on theirs for you to not check my bag. So you can kind of have a bidding war, and whatever bribe he accepts is the one. So if he does not accept your bribe, you get your money back.
If he decides to check someone's bag, he'll pop it open, and then he'll pull out the cards.
So I declare 4 apples.
And so if the sheriff decides, I'm going to check your bag, he'll open the bag, and then he'll reveal what's in there. And in this case, it's 4 apples. He was telling the truth. The sheriff looks at the red number at the bottom of the card, and he has to pay the merchant that much money as a penalty for falsely accusing...
For doubting my honesty and sincerity.
So in this case, 2, 4, 6, 8. The sheriff has to pay 8 money, and she gets these...
And I get my apples back.
She gets these cards, and you put them under your thing, under the apple side. On the other hand, let's say instead of the 4 apples, he opens it up, and there's a couple red cards, which are the contraband. There's the mead and the pepper. And there's 2 chickens thrown in there that, from what I've learned in school, chickens aren't apples. So none of these are the 4 apples that she said. All of these are going to get confiscated. And she has to pay the penalty to the sheriff for everything that was not declared. So in this case,
That's 12.
8. That's 12 money that she's got to give the sheriff.
Now, in actuality, if I had done this, I would have declared 4 chickens.
Yeah, that way the chickens would have gone through okay.
So if I had declared 4 chickens and he opened it and found the 2 contraband, he keeps those 2 contraband. I have to pay him the 8 coin, but I get to take my chickens back.
Yeah, because the chickens were okay. So she would take her chickens.
So you'd want to
put them under
declare,
there, but she would have to pay the sheriff 8 money, and then these go into the discard pile because they're not allowed in Nottingham.
Yeah. So there's no reason not to declare a legal item that you're going to have in your envelope or in your bag. That way, if he does call you out, you'll at least get those back and not have to pay for them.
But you could always declare 4 chickens, have the 4 chickens and 1 bread in there, just because you might want to get some bread piled up under here.
Well, you could only have 3 chickens then and 1 bread because you have to have the same number of cards.
You would say you would declare 4 chickens.
Okay.
You would get to keep the chickens if he did it. You would have to pay for the bread if he didn't. But if you got through, you get to keep them.
Right.
Put them all down.
Because they're all honest items.
And the reason you might want to do that is at the end of the game, there's some bonus scoring based on who has the most of an item. If you have the most apples at the end of the game,
Aren't you the king of apples or something like that?
You'll get something like that, yeah. And you'll get 20 points. Second place will get 10. And it's the same for the 4 legal items. You want to try to get as many of those as possible.
Mm-hmm. And so once that round's over, the next person, clockwise, is the sheriff.
The game plays until everyone has been the sheriff twice.
And how many players does this?
The base game.
Not here.
The base game is 5. The expansion will add a 6th.
That's right. And the expansion doesn't change anything, does it? It just adds the 6th player.
It adds, if you play with 6, you get 2 deputies instead of 1 sheriff. That they can either act as a team or separately. So they can agree amongst themselves, we want to check that person's bag. But
so there's no sheriff on a 6th player?
No. So what happens is any penalties get paid out the same if they agree with each other, and any rewards are divided amongst them. But let's say we were both deputies and she wanted to check someone's bag, and I'm like, no, I think he's telling the truth. She can go on her own and be like, I'm doing this by myself, and I don't get any of the penalty, but I don't get any of the rewards either. And so it allows you to play with 6 people with two deputies.
Okay.
It adds in a few other modules that you can put in that do some things to alleviate some of the issues I have with the base game. But we'll talk about that later.
So it's basically a game of who lies the best, who can you trust?
Bluffing, yeah.
And so it's just, and you've got, my goodness, you've got your deck. So each time you fill your bag and that turns over, you draw back up to your hand size.
You have a draw pile and 2 discard piles. And you can choose at the beginning of your turn to discard as many cards as you want. So you might be like, I'm going to discard these 2 apples because they're not worth a lot of gold. And I'm going to discard this mead. So you could be like, hey, Sheriff, I'm actually getting rid of my contraband. So I'm being truthful. And you put it in the discard pile. When you draw to refill your hand, you can draw from the top of either discard pile or the deck.
But isn't it once you choose a discard pile, you can't go to another discard pile?
I think once you start drawing from the deck, you have to draw from the deck.
Okay.
I think this is how it works. So there may be times where somebody discarded 2 chickens and a mead, which is contraband, and you really want those 2 chickens. So when you draw your hand back up, you're like, okay, I'm going to draw 3 off the top there to get those 2 chickens.
But don't
But then
forget,
everybody saw you pick up that mead.
you've got eyes on you. Everybody's watching because, again, I may see Norm picking up that mead, but I may not be sheriff for another 2 rounds. But I'm going to remember he picked up some mead. In all honesty, I'm not going to remember because I don't remember that kind of stuff. But some people will.
You could also use that to be like, hey, Sheriff, remember, he picked up that mead. He might be trying to get that through. You might want to check that.
So everybody's trying to sabotage everybody just by talking smack, reminding the sheriff of what's going on. And, with a big group, it can be entertaining. We always, when we play, we like to have different voices for the sheriff. Except Norm, he doesn't do voices. The rest of us, we do. We play along with it. So when Aaron and David play with us, we'll have some fun with it.
I mean, that's the game. It's a game of bluffing, trying to sneak some stuff through. And that's generally it. Everyone gets to be the sheriff who has to read the table twice. Mm-hmm. And then the game's over, and you add up all the money that you've got, get the bonus points for who has the most stuff, get the bonus points for any contraband that you have, and
winner chicken dinner.
Most money wins the chicken dinner. Thoughts?
What do you like about it?
I like the interaction with other people, mm-hmm. the kind of backstabbery kind of stuff.
But it's backstabbery to your face.
Stab right in the face. Oh.
So you know who's trying to sabotage you. You know who's trying to call you out.
And where you're like, hey, I don't believe that she actually has 4 chickens, because chickens are fairly rare. They're the most expensive legal good. So if they're like, yeah, I got 5 chickens, it'd be like,
lies.
Does she though? You might want to check that bag, Sheriff.
Because you could be like, well, I see 3 chickens in my hand. So do they really have 4 chickens?
Because she's like, I do 5 chickens, and I'm like, I've only got 2 chickens in my hand, but I only put 2. I got 2 chickens in my bag, Sheriff, and chickens.
So who are you going to believe?
Chickens are really hard to come by. I've only got 2. You really think she's got 5?
Come on, son.
One thing is, if the sheriff decides not to check your bag and you get it back, you open it and you're like, my chickens. But if you have contraband, you don't have to show anybody.
You don't reveal. You just be like, oh yeah, my 3 chickens. Well, that one's going to go there, and these other 2 are going under the
and just don't worry about those.
Contraband. Don't worry about that. And so then the sheriff gets that feedback like, oh, I let that through. Yep. I shouldn't have.
And so again, everybody's seeing all of that. So when you're sheriff, you can now process, okay, the last 4 turns, Norm lied about every single one. But then you have to think, is he going to lie on that 5th one? Because now everyone knows he's lied 4 times. So is he going to be honest this time? So you have to weigh all of that out to decide if they're telling the truth or not.
What do you like about it?
Pretty much the same thing. The fun interaction of it. So, yeah, same thing.
So, dislikes.
Dislikes. Okay.
Should I go first?
No, I just have to find the right wording. Where I love the interaction, some people aren't as good at bluffing. And I guess I'm just not a big fan of that kind of bluffing, because it could be like, oh, I'm just going to be a jerk and check your bag every single time. Now, it'll hurt me if he's honest, because I'll have to pay him. But, it could be like, I'm just going to be a jerk and check everybody's bag. Or I don't want to lose any money, so I'm just going to let everybody through. So it depends on your mood when you're playing the game. And it can bite you either way. But where I love the interaction, I don't like that part of it. So I dislike being the sheriff for that reason. I don't mind being, just a merchant trying to get through the gates, but I'm not a fan of being of that kind of decision making as the sheriff. If that makes sense. And that's what I don't like. It's pretty much the only thing I don't like.
There's 2 things that I don't like. And the first one is, I'll go with the small one first. It just feels kind of weird. It's the 2 discard piles. that are face up that you can draw from, and the weird rules about, you know, once you draw from the deck, you can't draw from the discard anymore, or something like that. I get what they're trying to do with the two discard piles, where you can, when you discard something, you can bury something good under a thing. So it's like, oh, if you really want this bread, you're gonna have to draw that mead. And you can discard, when you discard, you can discard to either pile. So if I have two chickens that I want to discard, you know, I'll put one in each pile, bury them both under stuff. We found most of the time people just draw from the top of the deck, because that's hidden information. You know, you might not get what you want, but nobody knows what you got. And, you know, so the two discard piles never really factored in all that much, unless somebody was like, I'm going to discard 2 chickens and put them right on top. Well, then the person after them is like, well,
I'm taking those 2 chickens.
I'm taking those two chickens.
And what's your hand size?
6.
Okay.
So you're always keeping one back if you're putting all 5 in. The second problem I have with the game, just tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you're probably going to win. That's what I found. I would, most of the time, I would just be truthful. 2 chickens, Sheriff. And it's like, if you want to check my bag, awesome. You're gonna lose 4 coins and give them to me.
So I now know your secret.
Plus I get the chickens
when we play again, and everyone now knows your secret.
Oh, I mean,
so Aaron, next time we play,
that's how David played. That's how I played, and it was just risk free, and you're getting all this stuff. Well, other people are accusing people of lying and getting caught, and they're losing money on both sides, and you're just slowly just piling up all this stuff for getting the bonuses.
On a fun side note, we played this game with his parents. I don't know if your dad played, but your mom did. And, oh, she's a good deceiver.
Not as deceiving as a low-down, dirty deceiver.
I mean, for the most honest person on this planet, she won, and she won hard. I mean, she had lots of contraband. And so nobody's questioning her, and she just got away with everything and beat us. So and then she doesn't like the game. She doesn't like dishonest games. She doesn't like games.
No,
even though she's incredibly good at them, she does not like games that you have to lie.
So, yeah, you can, you know, even in a truthful game, and you can carry this on in the future, I might throw a little lie in. But a lot of times my lie might be like, I'm doing three chickens, but it's 2 chickens and an apple.
Still no contraband.
It's like, oh, you caught me with the apple, so I got to pay you 2, but my 2 chickens still go through. And there might be some stuff like that, but for the most part, the penalties are really steep if you get caught with the contraband. So it doesn't seem like it's worth it. It seems like the way you game the system is you just tell the truth all the time. If you got people who don't really care about the winning and are just trying to do some sneaky stuff, if you have a table full of people like that, then it's a lot more fun, I think. But if you're playing like, okay, I'm going to try and win this game, well, then you're probably not lying. That's what some of the modules in the Merry Men expansion try to alleviate. There'll be special orders that are out there where it's like people in town are looking for certain contraband.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so that encourages you to get that contraband in through so you can fulfill that special order for more money. The Merry Men themselves are contraband that you're trying to sneak in, and they all have like a special power that if you can sneak them in, you flip it over, reveal it, do what the card says, and get a bonus. And so the expansion adds in more things to encourage you to try to get that contraband in. And I like that. I don't necessarily like adding the 6th person with the two deputies. The black market is when that's the thing that encourages you to get the contraband through. There are law cards that will come out that might change how that round works.
So you don't have to use all of these.
No,
when
you
playing.
can put
pick
these
and
in as
choose.
you want. Yeah, and I think I found the laws being a little bit too random and changing up the game a little bit too much. The special order is for particular stuff that could be like this. This example here is a chicken and pepper because you want peppered chicken, and so if you can smuggle those through, I think the black market is it. You can slowly accrue what's needed over time, and so once you accomplish it, then you can be like, okay, I do have the requirements for
So
that.
the special orders are for that round.
And the special order specifically for that round, you have to get the chicken and the pepper in at the same time in your bag.
But even with 6 players, you can choose just to use the sheriff, right, and not the deputies.
No.
Okay.
No, for 6 players, it is you are using the deputies.
Well, I mean that would make a long game.
Because otherwise, yeah,
12 rounds.
everyone would have to be the sheriff twice, and so it keeps the gameplay short. So I assume you could play with the sheriff if you really wanted to, but who knows? You'd run out of cards. These things would be sticking up here with all the stuff piled under it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't dislike adding the expansion because it encourages the contraband.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't played with the expansion much because most of the time we'll introduce new people to this.
Right.
Ratings?
Scores?
So doing the 0 to 7 for gameplay mechanics, I'm gonna go with just the base game. I'm gonna go with the 6.
Yeah.
Knocking it because it seems like telling the truth is the best play, and the weirdness with the discard piles just not doing what it's supposed to do.
I'm going to give it the 6 as well. It's not me not liking being the sheriff has nothing to do with the components of the game. So that would be more into the WoW, the other half of it. But I would give it a 6 as well, because there's not much area for improvement on it. Again, like Norm said, the discard and the drawing is a little wonky, but other than that,
there is an issue as well with the popping of the bags, because the rule states once you pop open the bag, then that means that you're that you're committed.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, once you close it, you're committed to what you've put in it. You can't change anything. And if the sheriff pops it open, there's no more bribes. There's nothing else that can be done.
That's this thin, suede material. There's been people online talking about, they try to pop it and they just pull the fastener right through the bag.
And you want to be dramatic if you're the sheriff. You want to be like, boom.
You want to be like, you want that audible pop, because once that pops, you can't stop.
Like, oh,
so
yeah.
Once you pop, that's
sheriff.
great.
Ah, that's great. Oh, we don't have the prongles behind us.
No, we don't have prongles behind us, but somebody might get that reference.
Well, I just gave it to them.
So that's another thing. The bags.
Because we're always like, yeah, and then it doesn't give right away, and then you're like, ooh, and then you got to carefully.
Yeah, so like sometimes we'll play not snapping them and just.
We just verbalize it. We're like, snap.
Be like, once I set it down there, it's done. And if you pick it up and open the flap, then you're committed. Just because, where do you get a replacement Sheriff of Nottingham bag if you rip it to shreds?
Yeah.
This is the first printing of the game. They've done another printing of it that people aren't huge fans of the art. Looking at it, I'm not a huge fan of the art.
Yeah, I like this art.
I don't know if they changed the bags at all to make them sturdier, but I like
this art.
I like the art. I have no complaints of the art for the first edition. I don't know why they made a change.
Let's move on to Wow Factor.
Wow
1 to
Factor,
3.
The 0 to 3. You can give it a 0.
That's what I said. That's what I said. I said 0 to 3.
All right. So what are you adding to your 6?
1. I'm not a fan of the game. I'll play it if our son wants to play it. So if he says, Mom, let's break it out, absolutely. If it's a game that he'll play, I'm all in. I don't like the game.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1 as well. So we're both giving it a 7. It's a fine game for what it is. If you don't want to take it seriously and game the game to try and win, the expansion helps out a little bit. But they're also some of these modules add some complexity, encourage you to do some contraband, but they also feel like a little clunky addition. So I don't know that the improvement is worth the rules overhead for some of these, but it's just a fun party game.
Yeah,
Now
it's a fine game for what it is, for sure.
But it's not one that I would choose.
Yeah, we've got other party games or big group games that I'd much rather play than this one.
Are we keeping it? Is it going up here?
It's not going up there.
No,
It's in all fairness, full disclaimer, it's Aaron's game anyway. We got it for him for Christmas, so we're just gonna give it back to him. We're gonna let him take it, get it off our shelf, put it on his. If he's with some group of friends, or if he and his brother have some friends over, they can all play it if they want.
And if they want to play it with us, we'll play it.
We'll come on over and play it. But I don't want it.
Yeah, it's not one that I think I would want to play with our play group.
Right. That's it for Sheriff of Nottingham. We've got 2 more of the random 8 to review, and then maybe we'll do another random. That was kind of fun. That popped out games we wouldn't have gotten to in quite a while. So, and it popped out quite a few I'd never heard of. So I think that was pretty neat. So
yeah,
right.
what have you guys thought of our random? Should we continue doing this? Having games thrown at us just out of left field that we didn't even know were on the shelf at the time.
Oh, he knew. I didn't.
So.
I didn't. So yeah, let us know. Thanks for following along and hanging with us as we have fun doing this. We'll catch you next time. Later.
All right.